So I am Margaret Harrison. I am an agent with Brooks and Davis. I'm sure you guys know already. And I am going to be giving y'all some juicy little tidbits along with Miss Kendra Wheaton, and Cedric will hop on a little bit later. So it's summertime, everybody, and business is still popping, business is still going on, but there's certain things that you have to do a little bit differently during our summer months. Now, summer is usually when I tend to get my busiest. And I believe that's because, all the families who are looking for new homes, the kids are out, they can freely shop better now. And that's just like the way things goes. The summers usually are the busier seasons for us realtors. And Kendra, would you say that as well? Summer, is that your busiest season?
Yeah, spring and summer tend to be the busiest for me.
Okay, so yes, with that being said, we have to operate differently. Now, I believe we have some newer agents on. Let's see. I don't know if you guys are comfortable with sharing your cameras or turning your cameras on, that would be perfect. So I can see some faces and not look at the black screens. So for the newer agents, you may not have your book of business built out just yet. Thank you, Joy. Hey, girl. So you may not have your book of business built out just yet. So summer is a perfect time for you to add things into your pipeline. But for those agents who have business and who are getting a little busier during that time, it's important for you to really have your business plans laid out and have your schedules laid out, because you're going to be getting busy, but you're still going to need to follow up. You're still going to need to do your regular transactions. So it's going to be important for you to stick with your plan, work your plan, and stick with it. Now, as far as just, some general little tidbits that I've learned throughout my 16 years in the business is when it comes to the summertime, is to be intentional. Be intentional. So everybody's having a good time during the summer. You're going to cookouts, you're going to barbecues, maybe even like graduations. Father's Day is coming up. Juneteenth is coming up. Be intentional. So enjoy the summer, but be intentional about getting some names, getting some people into your pipeline. So anytime you go out, my number one thing is meet somebody new, let them know what you do for a living, not being aggressive with it, but hey, yeah, it's summertime, perfect time to get in a new house, just drop little tidbits. And the more you do it, the easier it'll become for you. Now, when I say be intentional, you're going to this graduation, have in your mind that you want to speak to 3 new people at the graduation. Maybe not sit with your graduating party. So you can just get your name out there, just be in the mix, but do it to where you have a goal, and you're not just going out there just clapping for the kids going across the stage. Go with a goal in mind. And I say that because, summertime, we do tend to get more lax. We're out here trying to have fun. We're out here trying to be in the sun, and we do not want to be just a boring realtor. So it is important for you to have a life. And just with that life, just know that you could get new business. You could let people know what you do and let them know that you enjoy being a realtor. People will just start to gravitate to you when you enjoy doing what you're doing. So be out there, enjoying summer and enjoying being a realtor. So Kendra, I have a quick question for you. When you're out there during the summer times, enjoying your summers, are you still actively trying to get new clients, or is it like you're in vacation mode, it's summertime, it's chill time?
Well, I kind of have a little bit of a different approach to it. So when I'm planning ahead when it comes to summer, I plan kind of my vacations and the things I do in the off season because I know that the summer is busy. So I usually like, if it's my vacations and my time to kind of focus on self would be more fourth quarters and maybe early parts of the year. I know summer months, that's the hot time. Everybody's going on vacation. And if you have kids, obviously there's some exceptions to that rule. I know your kids are out of school, but I focus a lot on my business, you know, obviously throughout the whole year, but in the summer months, you know, people are out a little bit more than often. So it's just basically being open to talk to anybody and everybody around you. When I'm hanging out, you know, out having dinner with friends or something, sometimes you sit at the bar talking to the people to the right and to the left of you, getting to know people, places that you frequent. If there's restaurants that you always go to, you know, the same waiter, say hello, greet people, talk to people, don't close yourself off. So really it's just exposing yourself to everybody, which is piggybacking off of what you said, but just not being what I call a secret agent. Nobody knows you because you never talk about it. Yes, if you're new, sometimes it's a little bit more difficult. So it's not saying, you know, wear the shirt and scream it loud and proud all the time, but you kind of are. You want to make sure that people know that you're an agent. So instead of being a secret agent, it's just having conversations and start casual conversations that can lead into something. So it doesn't sound so salesy. Just, you know, talking about your family, their kids, what they do, that type of thing, and then let it lead into, and then they'll usually ask, well, what do you do for a living? And then, you know, you can kind of flow from there. So I think it's more just not being a secret agent and making sure that people around you, no matter whether they're friends, family, or strangers, that they know that you're in the business.
Right, thanks. Like that answer. And I see Cedric just popped on. Hello, sir. How are you?
How's it going? I appreciate you guys being flexible. I apologize. I had a dentist appointment and it went a little longer. So trying to get that smile right for this show today. So.
All right. Well, we appreciate you working on that smile, sir.
Absolutely. That's the least I could do.
I just asked Kendra, like, what does she do during these summer months? You know, everybody's out and about. Do you do your business a little bit differently during the summer months?
You know, that's a good question. I typically don't do my business any different. And I think that, you know, it just depends on the agent, what your niche is, what your strengths are, how you adjust. Now, there's adjusting times throughout the year, but for me, summertime typically tends to be a busier time for me. So, and I think that lots of agents, it may be the same. I think the fall, winter months are when things kind of go downhill. So I don't necessarily say that I wouldn't say that I do business any different. Again, if this conversation is all about creating that pipeline, you know, in real estate, we always use the term location when it comes to buyers, right? When it comes to us as agents, it's all about leads, right? So working on that system and efforts to create your pipeline is something that happens throughout the year. And I don't feel like that changes throughout the summer months, right? So I think that your practice should be the same, whether it's spring, summer, fall, and that's concentrating on how to create those pipelines. So in my opinion, you have to have 3 sets of focal points when you're trying to create that pipeline of clients. And thus you have to have your cold clients being those that you don't know, right? You don't know them, they don't know you. How do you generate those cold clients? And that comes to, and I think I caught the tail end of Kendra's comments, being out and about. I pride myself, I feel like I'm a master networker. I'm always networking. I'm great at getting out, putting myself in spaces of the uncommon where people don't know me, I don't know them, but creating those relationships. And so, but learning how to create those cold clients, I think especially for newer agents, that comes easier if you find a great source of lead generation to utilize. What I've seen in the past is lots of new agents and even seasoned agents, you know, they'll try the cold call method, calling people, they'll try the door knocking and things of that nature. With those tactics, I don't feel like that you could leverage those and or sustain those, right? With those tactics, it's when you're doing them and they're working well, they are working well. But when you stop doing them, they stop producing. when you take advantage of something like, again, a lead generation system, you get those through Facebook and things of that nature. Those work for you as far as sending you cold clients, whether you're working them in the moment or not, right? So again, learning how to establish those cold clients, learning how to leverage and utilize your warm clients, that being your sphere of influence, which for me, which is why I say the summer months is the super, super busiest for me, because my background, as many of you know, is in education. I spent 15 years in education. And so as we know, teachers are quote unquote off during the summer. And so a lot of the moving around, a lot of the hustle and bustle and shuffling is done during the summertime. So that relationship building throughout the year is done. And then the summertime, it kind of comes to fruition. And then also utilizing that third area. So you got your cold clients, your warm clients, and then what I would call your retargeting clients, right? So whether you're new or seasoned, the people that you have done business with in the past, and they come back around, or they've sent someone to you as a referral. So for the summer months, as Kendra said, like I said, I caught the tail end of it. It's about being out, marketing yourself as a professional, marketing your business as a professional, not just yourself. Again, I think another thing that's that helps really well is putting the focus on what you bring to the table, your value, not necessarily you per se, right? I see a lot of this with social media, especially when it comes to real estate. Everything is, we're kind of marketing ourselves instead of the business and what we have to offer. And so I think if you utilize some of those tools, there's so many different things, right? You kind of caught me on the spot with that question, Margaret, but there's so many different things. But again, making sure that you're building that pipeline through leads in the spring months, the prior winter months, and then capitalizing on that by following up. That's where I think most of us drop the ball, is we don't follow up, because especially when you're new, we expect that first point of contact turn into a sale. And when it doesn't, it exhausts us, it deflates us, and we don't follow up. I think the stats is some like 90% of the contacts that you make, that first contact is not going to turn into a sale. So it may be 2 months, 6 months, 8 months, 10 months, especially if they need credit repair and all of these other things. So following up and being consistent in that follow-up is going to help you in those summer months to take advantage of that.
Right. Well, I think you did an excellent job with that answer, Cedric.
Oh, appreciate it.
Excellent. Now, piggying back on leads and follow up, everyone, all the affiliates, newer agents, other agents on here, Brooks and Davis has an excellent lead generation program. So get with Mike to become a part of that, where we give you leads. So if your pipeline maybe isn't as full as you would like, get with Mike and see what you have to do to become a part of our lead system. So it's excellent. Giving out leads. So get with him. That can help fill your pipeline. Now, also, I heard the other day, as when it comes to follow-up, there was a guy, I forgot his name, but he was like, follow up, follow through, and follow back. Follow up meaning, you're going to have to stay in touch with the people. But follow through is very important. Follow through in doing what you say you're going to do. So if you meet somebody in the Starbucks, or you're out at the zoo chilling with your kids for the summer, and you come across someone and you do all that hard work to put in and build rapport, and you tell them, hey, I could send you a quick CMA about the houses, your house, or I can send you a quick analysis about the houses in your neighborhood. Actually do it. So follow through with what you say you're going to do. That's a big thing. A lot of times we say, I'll send you some listings, or I'll send you a list of something, and you don't do it. That puts like a bad taste in the consumers' mouths out there. They say, oh, these realtors, they don't do what they say they're going to do. So if you'll be the one that actually follow through with what you say you're going to do, you're going to be light years ahead of the other agents. So follow through, and then follow back. Follow back meaning going back to your past clients. Going back to, if you're just new in real estate, going back to people that you've ever done business with. Go back to your dentist. Cedric, you can follow back with your dentist. Hey, you got my mouth looking right today. How's things going with your real estate? You have a need or anything? I do business with you. You do business with me. Follow back.
Hey, you
And
better
if
believe we definitely talked about real estate today. So
right?
absolutely.
So follow back, y'all. So follow up, follow through, and follow back. Now, as far as building your pipelines, there are a lot of different methods to build your pipelines. Cedric, you mentioned some. You mentioned, did you mention FISBOs? I know sometimes people do that, or door knocking. There's many different methods. And if you guys you should be familiar with your serum. There's a lot of different videos and tips on how to perform those different methods. But whatever you do, stay consistent. So if you do door knocking, stick with make sure you keep door knocking so that people can remember you. Just don't do it once and that's it.
Can I respond to that?
Yes.
It's just, you hit a point, something that I have some discussions with some fellow colleagues that are new in the business about a lot. One of my good colleagues in particular, I won't say his name, but I tell him all the time, I feel one of his downfalls is that he chases so many different things, right? And he'll mention things to me and I say to him really quickly, like, that's not me. Like, that's not for me. He's like, well, if it's about the money, it's for me. No, not necessarily. Again, you hear the term niche all the time, find your niche, but I'm all about, you have to, like you said, in order to stay consistent, you have to find that one or two things, depending on where you are in your career, right? If you're new, if you're seasoned, how many things can you tackle? So for me, I focus on about 3 things myself. But if I'm newer, I want to find that one thing that I'm going to master and I'm going to be consistent at that. So you can't be, well, I talked to Kendra this week and she told me that, if you're door knock, so I'm door knocking this week. Then the next week I talked to Margaret and she said, well, if you cold call, now I'm cold calling. Then I talked to Cedric and he said, well, he did this. And every other week you're trying something different. And like you said, you can't do that follow up, follow back, follow through, because you're not being consistent enough with one or two things. So find what it is that you're great at, that fits your personality, that fits your circle of influence, that fits your strengths, and focus on that and get that down. And I think that helps you to create that pipeline because you're seen as a professional expert in that particular area instead of one of the thousands and thousands of agents that are out there that, we're hoping that, well, if I post enough cool stuff on my social media and I look good and dress nice, then it's going to get me those clients. That's not what it, that's not the most effective way in building a consistent pipeline.
100%, I agree. Yeah, if I could say something, Margaret. So, I think all of this, when we talk about what we're doing and how we're building and all of that, it starts with a plan. Like, you have to have this written down, have a plan. You have to have a plan of action. And then it's not only writing it down, it's implementing your plan. I think we find that a lot of agents, they'll write a business plan out because the broker said to do it, and then they do nothing that they wrote down on that plan to execute and actually follow through with it, which is, what you said, Margaret. I start thinking about the next year in the fourth quarter and first part of the year. So at the fourth quarter, I'm really thinking about, okay, what do I want my business to look like the following year? And then I'm implementing those strategies. So like you said, if it's door knocking or if it's social media or whatever you're great at, like Cedric said, you're really focusing on how am I going to use that in my business? And I like to work backwards. Okay, well, if it's door knocking, how many houses do I need to knock? Or, if it's social media, how many posts do I want to do per week? Actually having a plan of action and then being able to follow through with that. And then obviously figuring out those relationships. I always talk about building relationships with people like lenders. I get referrals from lenders. I get referrals from credit repair companies. This is lead generation. So it doesn't have to just come from a program. It can come from anywhere. Our goal is to get referrals, to build our business. So I have relationships with lenders that will get people pre-approved and then call me when they're pre-approved. I have relationships with credit repair people who take people through a credit repair program. And when they're ready, they'll, send them to me, or we start that conversation early. Building relationships with builders. I get a lot of business that's referred to me from builders where people who want to buy, but they have homes to sell. So I'm the one that's going to list their home, but then I also get them as a buyer. So I'm getting both sides of the deal. So I think it's really just honing in on a plan, and definitely don't do everything out there. I was that agent. I will admit it. 16 years ago, got into this business and I did everything. My face was on grocery carts. I had pencils, I had pens, I had magnets, anything you could do to market. I thought I will do everything. I invested a lot of money in things that did not work. And so it's really important to, just like you said, hone in on those things that are going to work for you and give yourself time. If you start doing it and you don't get a response in a month, that doesn't mean it's not working. You got to plant those seeds, water them a little bit, and then they're going to grow eventually. But that's why you're not just doing one thing, you're doing several things, like Cedric said. So I really think it starts with a plan, writing it down, and then implementing your plan from there. And then when you can have those check-in times at 6 months, you look back at the plan. Okay, I've been doing this consistently for 6 months. This isn't quite working. Oh, I've gotten some leads from builders. Let me start building more relationships with builders, because now I see that I'm getting a lot of business from there. So you do have those check-in points with yourself to kind of see how your plan is going. But I definitely think all three of us probably have tried everything just because we had people in our ear. Oh, this works for me. This works for me. Well, not everything works for everybody, because all of our personalities are so different, and what we're good at is different, you know? So definitely, I think if you haven't already, I know we did it as a brokerage, did business planning right at the beginning of the year, but because we do have a lot of new agents, if you haven't already done that, write it down, have a plan and create that business plan, and then have somebody that can hold you accountable to follow through with that too. You know, that with Michael, with coaching and things like that, that's going to be really, really influential in actually seeing that you follow through with some of that stuff too. So.
Well, you know, they say if you don't have a plan, you plan to fail. So everyone have a plan. So I task all the agents here, if you do not have a plan already, when we get off, make one. That's like the first step, make a plan. So you're not planning to fail out there. We want to be successful. Now, you were also saying that, you know, when we first got started, we were doing everything. And yes, I was doing everything. And I went through a lot of money, and not necessarily getting any clients, but just burning through money, trying those different things. And I also found, because I was doing a lot of different things, that if, like, say for instance, mail outs, the mail outs for 1 month cost me like $600, I remember. But I couldn't sustain $600 for multiple months. So if I would have gone into it maybe with a plan, thinking ahead and thinking, okay, can I do $600 every month for at least 6 months to be able to see a return and to see a pattern at all? Because those mail outs may have worked. I just couldn't do it consistently every month. So everybody out there, new agents, think about the future. Try to plan ahead. If one of these lead generation tools costs money, be ready to keep pumping that money in month after month after month so you can see results. If you can't, try some of the more cheaper methods, like going in, speaking with builders, making relationships with lenders. And Kendra, since you mentioned builders, do you have any tips for the newer agents out there on how to start building a relationship with the builder?
Yeah. So I don't know if a lot of you know, but that's actually how I started in real estate. I built homes for a builder for 5 years before I became an agent. And so new construction is a big part of my business, just because, you know, that's kind of where I started. And so, you know, what I always say is obviously it starts with you getting up and getting out there, finding communities. A lot of people focus on communities in their area where they live, or focus on areas that they want to build their business. If you want to grow your business in Katy, okay, well, and you want to kind of start building relationships with new construction, the best way to start is getting out there and actually going into the model homes and introducing yourself, obviously, as an agent in the area, And not necessarily the first time you go in saying, hey, can you send me leads? I mean, they get that all day long. All day long. People are constantly walking in. But what it is you're building a partnership. So I always encourage new agents to build a binder. Go out to the community. So let's just say the community's in Katy, it's Ellison. You go out to Ellison and you're getting to know all of these different builders, and you put a binder together with all of their floor plans, all of their standard feature sheets, all of that stuff. So basically what you're doing is you're creating this binder to become an expert of that community. You've got to, in order for you to sell the community, you've got to know the community. So you create this binder. It's got, Perry Homes, Highland Homes, Lennar Homes, Village, whatever the builders are, you've got a tab for each one. And in each tab, you have their price sheet, their floor plans, their standard feature sheet, promotions, whatever. You have that section. And so then the next time you go out, you schedule a time, call that particular person and say, hey, I wanted to stop by your community, wanted to get an update, anything new coming up, that I need to know about. So then it's touches. We always talk about that with our business when we're talking about our clients, that we want to make sure, you touch them one time and you might not get it, but you might have to touch them. What is it? Seven times, I think it is, that they say. So you
12, yeah.
So let's just say 2 weeks later, you go back out to the community, and this time you're now asking them what they need, what kind of support do they need in their community to sell more homes? How can I help you sell more homes in the community? And let them tell you what they need. Maybe they need marketing for their inventory homes. They have some homes that aren't selling, or whatever it may be. Of course, they're always going to say, bring me clients. But we want to find out specifically what they need. Are they having a hard time pushing people to that community specifically? So now that's another touch. 2 weeks later, you've gone back out. And then when they tell you what they need, follow through and actually do it. If they need marketing with new construction homes, figure out how you're going to help them market that. Is that an investment of you shooting a video? Is it using your phone and your gimbal and getting out there and creating a video? Is it posting on social media? Whatever it is, come up with a plan to help them market. And then sometimes, once you build those relationships, they like you, you like them, they see value in you, then they will start to then refer business to you. If they have open house opportunities, builders that have inventory that's not selling and is just sitting there, if you've stayed in touch with them and been consistent, they will offer you opportunities to hold their inventory homes open, do open houses on the weekends. There's a lot of builders that do that. There are some builders that don't allow it, but there are plenty that do. And I've got actually 2 clients under contract right now that I met at open houses I did last summer for builders that are currently actually building homes. And they're not building with the builder that I met them at. I met them at the open house with that builder. That didn't work out. And then now they're building in a completely different community. But I think a lot of it's being consistent, being an expert of the communities that you want to work in new construction, adding value. It's not just about asking what they can do for you. It's what can you also do them. Let's make this a partnership that we're working together. And then if you're consistent with it, when they get people who come into their model who have a home to sell, then they will consider you as their go-to agent. They'll reach out to you and say, hey, they really want to write a contract with us, but they have a home to sell. Can you help me? You end up listing the house. They end up working with you on the buy side. You get 2 deals out of it. So I think at the end of the day, it comes down to being consistent. Don't just show up one time and then expect them to refer you business. You should be touching them a couple of times a month, if not once a month would be great, but a couple of times a month, popping in, call them and ask them if they've had lunch, bring them lunch, bring them a smoothie, bring whatever it is, like stay in touch with them, follow them on social media, comment on, on the things that they post about their business on social media, be engaged. I think that's the key, is being engaged and staying engaged with new construction.
That's a good way to build your pipeline, you guys. Go visit builders. Now, again, these are just some things you can do because we're probably going to give you a lot of ideas. Pick one and be consistent at it. So, Cedric, I have a question for you. Sometimes since summer is your more busier months, we can burn out if we're not like taking care of ourselves outside of real estate. Doing what you love to do, being around your family. And I know you're killing it in Austin. So what are you doing during these types of months when you're getting more busier, not to burn yourself out?
Oh, that's a good question. I'm a bit of an anomaly because I don't tend to get burned out. I like the busyness. The busyness is what keeps me fueled and keeps me going. If I'm not busy, then I get burned out, if that makes any sense. It's almost backwards, but people is the business that I'm in. I love being around people. I love the value that they add to my life that I'm able to add to theirs. And so I'm invigorated and refreshed when I'm busy and around others and helping them achieve goals. And so now, obviously, in attachment to that, I'm constantly always working on my personal mental state, physical state. So I do, as many of you know, I do lots of running. So I'm always training for marathons, training for one now. So early in the morning, late in the evening, workouts, traveling when I can in between. That's a huge passion of mine and my family's. So traveling in between work keeps me fueled, keeps me revitalized. And so we do a lot of that. I hit the big 4-0 next month. So we have a huge we have a cruise. We have a huge cruise planned. And so things like that. So just making sure that I do carve out time. But if I'm not working, I'm spending time with my family. It's just that simple. Either I'm with my family, wife and kids, or I'm working. And those are the things that I love. And I squeeze my personal time in there with physical fitness and mental health and things of that nature. But it keeps me going, being around like-minded individuals. I just don't think that you can get burned out when you're around others that are chasing the same dream and you're fueling one another and pouring into one another. It's tough to get burned out when you're in that atmosphere, when you're doing something that you love, that you're passionate about. I just don't believe that you get burned out doing things that way.
Good answer. I like that. And from what I've saw in myself, if I'm doing things that I just like, sometimes real estate will just come out anyway. I'm trying to start rollerblading. I'm not good, never was good at four-wheel skates, but started going out rollerblading, met a lot of different people. They want to get to know you. They like say, what do you do? Real estate always pours out. So I say that to tell all the new agents and other seasoned agents that your hobbies can also be a great source for your pipeline. Mm-hmm. If you're out there enjoying yourself and people see you in your authentic scenario, they see you in your natural habitat, so to speak, they'll love you, you'll love them. They know you, they get to know you, they get to like you, they get to trust you, they'll do business with you. So it doesn't have to be this rigid box thing. You come in like, okay, I need to make these phone calls. Let's just, yes, have your plan, but have fun with it. That'll keep you from burning out. When you're enjoying yourself, you could easily speak about real estate, speak about other things. People will gravitate towards you when they see you having a good time. And when they see you, that you're not stressed out, because they don't want to be stressed either. So they see you stressing, they won't want to do business with you. But if they see you living your best life, hey, you're their person. You'll be their realtor for life. They see you enjoying yourself. So agents, know what you're good at. Your hobbies can be a big pipeline filler for you. So I wanted to make sure we get that in. Mm-hmm.
With that being said, Margaret, I think it's super important to let all the agents know, new and experienced. I think that Kendra mentioned this, having that plan, you have to know that end goal, because like you said, when you're doing this, living your best life, a lot of people equate that to immediate, oh, I'm in real estate and I'm converting lots of sales, I'm making tons of money, that's living my best life. Everyone is totally different. For me, I am leveraging and utilizing real estate to create generational wealth, a legacy for my family. And so again, I don't get to that burnout because I know I see the end, right, from the beginning. And so even when there are times where there may not be tons of sales at the moment, I know that these things are coming and what it's going to produce at the end. And so having that plan and knowing what your end goal is, beginning with the end in mind, but understanding that you don't begin with the end in hand, right, will keep you moving towards that goal. And so for our listeners, I don't know if you guys are paying attention to the chat. I just want to remind you all that our expert coach Mike is putting notes in the chat. Anything that we're talking about, if you guys are like, hey, I have no idea how to get started with this, what I need to do, he's put a link in the chat for you to take advantage of as an excellent resource of coaching, strategizing, planning for it, and things of that nature. So take advantage of that.
Yeah. And just know that, all these different strategies and things that we're mentioning, it actually takes work. Like we're not just saying to do it and we're not implementing it in our own businesses. And we're seeing success because of these things that we're currently doing. So, it does take work. It does take patience. I get it. You're new. You want to make the money right now. We've all been there. We want to make it right now. When it's not coming, we get frustrated and we want to quit. And this is not for me. And, but if you're passionate about this and you love real estate and this is what you're doing to build generational wealth for your family, a legacy for your family, like Cedric said, there are going to be ups and downs in any business. If you're starting a restaurant, if you're, starting any type of business, it doesn't matter what it is, you're going to have the ups and downs. It's what you do in the downtimes that really matter. So really focus on, okay, if things are slow right now, what can I implement in my business that's going to really help me? And just know that what you implement today may not give you immediate success. It may not mean that you're going to, I started doing this, and so next month I'm going to have 5 new leads. It could be 6 months from now, 3 months from now, a year from now, before you actually start to see that. And so I really try to have a good balance, because I do focus a lot on new construction. I do try to have a good, healthy balance of new construction and resales in my plan. So when I start planning and thinking about what I'm going to do in the fourth quarter of the previous year and the first quarter of the current year, I really think about, okay, if I really want to have homes that are under construction that are going to be done in the summer, then I've got to start putting in, effort and time to get those listings, or start talking to people who might want to put their home on the market for the summer when they're getting ready to move with their kids. I got to start having those conversations with them 6 months ahead of time. So I'm starting to talk to people who, are thinking about it. I'm really talking to them in December and January, and we're putting a game plan together for summer. So it's not just that, what you're doing, what you're doing right now. Sometimes it's, you got to think ahead. If I'm going to have a good mix, I'm going to have those resale clients, those clients that reach out and they're ready to go and they have a specific community and they know where they want to be and they told you the neighborhood. Great. You can focus on those. But the ones that call you and they don't really, we're open. We just want to live in Sugarland, or we just want to live in Pearland. Those clients are the ones that you can introduce new construction to. So then now you're going to have some resale clients and you're going to have some new construction clients. So, I like to have a good, healthy balance of both. It's kind of been how I've built my business, just based on my past experience in new construction. But I really do think that it's a great opportunity for you to have consistent pipeline going into the summer when you start working on new construction in the fall of the previous year, because it's going to take nowadays 8 to 10 months to build a house. Mm-hmm. So if you start working on it in the fourth quarter of the previous year and really working on towards those clients and those relationships with builders at that time, when those houses start at the end of the year, first of the year, your summer months are going to be great, because you're going to have all those closings that are going to be coming throughout the summertime. I have houses right now that are about to close in June and July. We wrote those contracts in August of last year. But in the meantime, while I've been waiting on all that to happen, I'm still working on We talked about open houses. At our open houses, generating new business from our open houses that we're doing. Those are how we're getting leads that are potentially more listings that we're going to get in that community. So I definitely think when we talked about open houses, I know we haven't talked about it a lot here. And, you know, if you missed that, mastermind that we did, you know, that's another great way to get listing leads. Doing open houses in the communities that you're interested in. It could be, I think we mentioned, talking to other agents that have listings in the communities that maybe aren't doing open houses. Call them and see if you can host one. You know, that's a way, you know, talking to the neighbors, you know, in the communities of the neighborhoods that you are doing open houses in. You know, as soon as you sell that one, doing a just sold flyer, sometimes those work, you know, so that lets them know that you just sold a home in the neighborhood and you're ready for the next, like, you know, so there's so many different strategies, and not one strategy is the only strategy, but just know that we, over all these years, we're building off of all these strategies that we've tried. We've all tried 10, 20, 30 different things, I'm sure. And then we found the ones that work the best for us. So, but taking advantage of opportunities with open houses is another way to build your pipeline, because neighbors are nosy. Let's just say it. Neighbors can help you sell houses, and they can also be a potential lead for more business. And so how you market when you do these open houses can really help you to get more business in the community, but then also the people who come to those open houses can be potential clients of yours for new listings as well.
Yes, Kendra, and what I got from you was don't stop. So agents out there, especially new ones, when you get that closing, yes, celebrate, but don't stop. You can't rest on that one closing. You got to keep going. So you sold a house, put a just sold plan together so you could keep it going. You do not want it to stop. Like it's a never ending wheel. Keep that wheel going, because when the wheel stops, everything stops. Like, but your bills don't stop. So keep it going. Don't just rest on that one closing. And I saw a question in the chat from Miss Denise Hinkle. She asked, is there any advice for people still taking their courses? So for me, Denise, it's been a minute. So I can't remember the test or what was covered, but I do know that there is like a monthly affiliate get together where everyone comes to, and Mike, you may be able to speak a little bit more
Margaret,
about that, where there are some help for that.
Margaret, what is exactly her question in reference to the courses? Is it help with the courses? Is there any advice for people still taking the courses as far as like learning these skills? What exactly is that in reference to?
Denise, do you mind coming off mute?
Just kind of elaborating.
Oh, well, I just don't want my baby to be loud.
That's okay.
Asking, okay, so I'm taking my courses, but I'm having a hard time actually like learning it because I'm a hands-on learner and my courses are online. So it kind of confuses me and it's all like jumbled up inside of my head. So it's like I'm trying to figure out a way to actually take that information and thoroughly learn it.
Study hall is what everybody's putting in the, have you attended any of the study halls that the Brooks and Davis?
I just joined this. This is like my first time ever on a Zoom meeting.
Welcome then.
Welcome.
Many more to come, we hope. But yes, we do offer a study hall at Brooks and Davis. So I would say take advantage of the study hall. That will probably really help you to get through your courses. And I think Mike, somebody will put something. Oh, next one is on June 16th. Mike just put it in the notes. So I would reach out to the office and definitely attend the study hall. That would be obviously a good first step.
And for those agents who feel they need more hands-on learning, utilize the agents in the office. I know myself, I'm always looking for help. So you can shadow some of us and learn through you just doing the work. So you'll come with me on listing appointments. You'll come with me doing buyer consultations. You could sit at some open houses and you could learn that way. Because I do know that real estate school doesn't really show you how to do the business. Like they'll help you pass the test and the exams, but after that, you're kind of on your own. So shadow some of the more seasoned agents, or even get with another affiliate and you guys go out and maybe try some door knocking if you're brave enough for that, or just shadow some other agents. We could always use help.
Margaret,
So
you had a lot of success with door knocking, because you mentioned door knocking a whole lot. You might be the mastermind.
Hey, if she is, we're gonna let her have that. I can't say that is not my strength. So don't reach out to me. I'm gonna be honest with you.
I will not claim that I know.
I think killing two birds with one stone. You get your steps in, you get your vitamin D. You get to see the neighborhoods, and you get to see how everybody's keeping their yards up, who's not keeping their yards up.
Absolutely.
Which is a hint to where they might need to be ready to sell. They're not keeping
but
the houses
Margaret,
up.
can I add to what you were saying? You did make some good points in there, and it sparked some thoughts into my brain. Definitely to newer agents, team up with others, go out and shadow, get you a mentor. Join get invested in the coaching sessions. It's vital, because believe it or not, I believe that creating the leads is not the tough part. I think that we all create leads more than we know, right? Especially if you're wearing real estate on your sleeve. As Kendra talked about before, you talk to people all the time, I'm a real estate agent, so forth. And then someone will say something such as this: oh, I'm thinking about buying a house soon. And then, oh, well, here's my card, so forth and so on. And in your head, you get that excitement, that zeal, like, oh, somebody said they wanted to buy a house, I gave them my card. So we're creating leads all the time. The tough part is not creating the leads, it's the conversion, right? So we get tons of leads, tons of people talking about real estate, but converting that, which kind of piggybacks on the point that you made, Margaret, about, real estate school doesn't really teach you this, because they can't emulate individuals and families and personalities, right? How those people are going to respond, how they're going to act, the excuses that they come up with, rebuttals that you have to learn to navigate through. This is why you have to get yourself out there, team yourself up with others, get into the coaching, because conversion is the tough part, which is why sometimes clients can take 2, 6, 8, 12 months, because converting those clients, and it all goes back to what you talked about earlier. It's the follow-up. You have to follow up. So finding tools that can help you along even with that process. I mean, there are tools out there that will have there are lead generation email follow-ups, right? To where it takes off a lot of the work on your hands. Once that person responds to an email, you can set it up to where that email follows up with them on a timely basis, and so forth and so on. So that's taking a lot of the pressure off for you, so you're not having to follow up with, which again, as Kendra said, I was doing a lot of this in my beginning years, trying to follow up with 50 people, and maybe it wasn't 50, but I'm going to elaborate. I'm going to exaggerate here. 50 people a day emailed, and remember who I called and who did that, and not having a plan and not having a CRM and a system in place. But it's all about, okay, how do we convert? It's not just the lead. Getting the lead is really simple. How do you convert that person into an actual buyer and or seller is the tough part.
Yeah, I 100% agree with that. And if somebody tells you, I know as new agents, we want business right now. If somebody tells you that I think we're going to wait till the summer, don't just be like, oh, well, I don't have time.
Exactly.
Everybody who says that they're interested in buying should be a client. Now, what category you put them in your business, like whether they're an A, a B, or C, like where you rank them may vary. But just because they're not ready right now and you're ready right now doesn't mean you stop nurturing. You have to nurture. Absolutely. You have to nurture everybody. I have worked with people for a year and a half before they bought. Not everybody's ready right now. Everybody's circumstances are different. Some people have to go through credit repair. Some people, they've got to get their finances together. But when they show some interest, that's enough for me. You showing some interest, it's just where they will rank. So that's when those follow-up tools really, really, really come into play.
Kendra, let me ask you this. What are your thoughts on this? Because I think that you're exactly right. And many of those individuals, believe it or not, may be ready right then and there, but we as real estate agents just aren't asking the right question, right? So lots of people come in contact with tons of realtors. And so I'll give you an example. I attend, again, tons of networking events, but I attend a monthly one at a Papados, and it's a great networking event. And I met a client, a now client. We just went under contract yesterday, but I met the wife at the networking event, and we started talking about real estate, buying a home. Same thing you said, Kendra. Well, we're not ready now. We think we're going to wait until, the summertime or next year, so forth and so on. And simply asking, well, why? What's the holdup? What's preventing you from buying now? What's your plan moving forward? And it's, well, we talked to a lender that we were going through, and they said that it was going to be X amount of dollars out of our pocket right now. We really don't want to spend that much. We would buy if we could, spend just this much, then okay, maybe so. But they said that we need this much. So talking a little bit more about the situation, so forth, so on. I exposed down payment assistance to them and talked to them about how that worked and linked them up with some different resources and some people of mine. And here we are, a few months ago, they were saying they were going to wait a year or 2 years down the line. And now here we are under contract. And I just met them, a month and a half ago, simply by having a conversation, not trying to sell real estate, but just trying to talk to them and see how I can add value. What can I do for you to help you achieve your dreams, instead of going into it with this mindset of, oh, I heard I want to buy a house, ching, ching, I got to get this sale. And then I'm going about it all wrong. I'm really showing interest in the individual, their family, their goals, what their aspirations are. And then I'm utilizing my toolkit, you guys, other people, my team of individuals that I've worked with, to see how we can help them achieve their goal. If we can't, then again, I'll just follow up and keep them for later. But if I can make it happen now, then we will. And so
Right.
It's very key, very much key.
100% agree with that. And then the other thing too, is sometimes you'll have clients that say that they're not ready now because they think that their financial situation is not in order. But if you take them through the pre-approval process now, and even if they're not ready, they have a plan through a lender who can say, these are the steps that you need to take to get ready.
Absolutely.
So that's the other thing. So when somebody tells you they're not ready now, and they say, oh, I think I'm just going to wait till next, the summertime, and you just say, okay, and that's your response, then you're setting yourself up to lose that client, because the next real estate agent that asks more questions, that says, hey, well, I know you said you want to wait till the summer, but why don't we go ahead and maybe start the pre-approval process so we can see where you are, so then we can put a game plan together. Then they go through the pre-approval process, they actually are ready, and then now you got a client. So I think it's important.
that is, you got me going now. I was chilling back for a second. Now you got me hyped up, because listen, new agents, listen to us very, very clearly here. Everyone can buy. There is, anyone you come in contact with, there is zero benefit in renting. Zero benefit in renting. When you're talking about it, whether they want to create generational wealth, whether they want to get out of a hole, whether they want to start a business, and they can later on down the line leverage real estate to do that, whatever the case may be, there's no benefit in renting. And if someone can rent with rental prices right now, at some point they can buy. It may be right now, it may be in 6 months, it may be in a year, it may be in 2 years, but there is no benefits in renting and throwing your money down the drain, right? So you take that same, it for most people, it costs them less or just about the same amount to buy a property and own as it does to rent. And there's zero benefits in renting. And so if we can just get that through our head, everyone deserves and should be a homeowner. Everyone deserves and should be a homeowner because of the benefits. And so once you learn those benefits and you know how to explain, elaborate, talk about, share experiences about how real estate has changed your life and others, then it's easy selling from there. And I say easy selling, it's never easy, but you know that you're always fighting for the greater cause.
Right. And it means that we're educating them, right?
Absolutely.
So when we just say, okay,
education.
Yeah, when we just say, okay, when they say that they don't want to buy right now, or they'll maybe next year, or I got to get my finances together, then we're not doing our jobs. Our jobs is to educate them. Maybe they think that they're not ready because they don't know. They don't know about the down payment assistance programs. They don't know how much it really takes to buy a home. They don't know, Oh, I've heard. I get that all the time. Oh, everybody's saying it's a bad time to buy. Hear that one more time.
Yeah.
Not a bad time to buy a home, So I think some of that is who's in their ear. Oh, no, they said, don't list right now because then I'm going to have a hard time finding a house to buy. I've gotten that, So those are things that we have. Those are objections. And make sure you understand this too. You're always going to get objections. Yeah. It's how we overcome the objections as agents. So knowing your market, knowing the interest rates, knowing the programs, you've got to have a toolbox. I look forward to objections. Throw an objection at me so I can turn around and, tell you what I know that could overcome that objection. So it's really, really important to have the toolbox. You got to know the programs that are out there. You got to know the interest rates. You got to be able to give them statistics. I know Cedric's real big on numbers. I'm not as big on numbers, but I do read about the numbers. But it's really important to have that toolbox, know all this information so that when somebody does have an objection about anything with regards to listing or buying, that you're able to say, you know what, have you thought of it this way? Or let me give you some information that I just read last week. Or, I was just reading this morning, the HIR just put out their little newsroom stuff about the housing market. So you've got to make sure that you don't stop learning after you leave real estate school. It's just now we're taking what we learn and we're using it to get more leads.
And that is key. And I know we're beating a dead horse. No, you're okay. And I do love the numbers, but I love the numbers for personal use. To be honest, I never use the numbers with clients because I don't want to sound like a salesman, right? The numbers are all to remind me that this works, that this is the right thing, right? The numbers is all about, look at how many people are doing it. It cannot be wrong. So it's a constant reminder for me. And I think that, for everyone on the chat, if you get those rebuttals or if you get those excuses and you find yourself like, as Kendra said, well, I'm going to wait till next year. Okay, then you really just have to take a strong look in the mirror and say, well, did I just say okay because I don't know how to come back from that, from that rebuttal that they gave? So it's all about, like you said, educating yourself. So the more I know, the more I'm equipped to handle the reasons and excuses that people give me. And whether those excuses and reasons are valid or not, again, I know that there's more value in buying and owning than there is renting. So, we just have to get past that hard surface of, well, I don't want to feel like I'm pressuring someone. Well, we're not pressuring them. I'm going to present all of the benefits of homeownership to you and show you how it's going to benefit you, your future, your family, your kids. And then when you see that, it just, you have to make that decision from there on out. And some people will be ready to make that decision immediately, a little bit down the line, later on down the line. It just all depends.
And I want to chime in there, or just piggyback on what you just said. Both of you guys, Kendra and Cedric. In a nutshell, that's just conversion. Having the rebuttal tools and the toolbox and the resources and educating yourself, that's conversion. Now, all of these are skills that you must acquire. So you won't just come out the gate being able to do the rebuttals. You'll have to practice. So you get some scripts, get with other agents, get with your mentor and practice, because conversion is a skill. And conversion is where you'll start seeing your commission checks. So if you are walking out and about and you see someone say, well, no, this isn't a good time to buy, you have to have some rebuttals to that. And you just don't just wake up knowing what to say. You have to practice. So if you guys are new, or if you don't have your pipeline filled just yet, take some time to practice some rebuttal skills. There's lots of online. You have agents in the office you could practice with. You can maybe ask one of us, okay, so what would you say if a client said, well, my aunt just bought a house and the interest rate should be about this much. If it's not that, I'm paying too much. What do you say? So newer agents, that you guys need to know how to combat that. You do not want to let that person slip through your fingers just because you couldn't say, you know what, you can still buy. Yeah, the interest rates are going up. They do that from time to time, but that doesn't stop people from buying houses. So you need to practice. So that conversion is a skill, and it's a skill that you are always building upon. So even as seasoned agents, sometimes we still need to go and practice certain skills. We have to practice. So I don't want you guys to gloss over practicing, especially if you're new. Practice, build those skills up. And see, are there any questions out there? Anybody that you guys can come off of mute and ask a question? Any questions?
Margaret, I did want to also mention, because I know we haven't really brought this up because we were talking about listings and building pipelines with listings, the importance of really knowing how to do a market analysis. We do, we want to get listings, but then what do we do once we get them? So we're wanting to build a pipeline, but then once we get the listings, how do we make sure that we are pricing these homes correctly? So it's really, really important also to make sure that we know how to do a great analysis, and if you don't even know what a market analysis is, or you've only heard about it in school, you still have to prepare yourself so that when it's time, you actually do know how to actually do one and present one. And then make sure that you actually understand what you're presenting. I think sometimes you learned it in school and this is what they said. And so you're just presenting it, but you don't really know what it means. So I think it is also important too that, with working towards getting these listings, what is your plan once you get the listing? What comes next after that? And that might be a whole nother, mastermind. I don't know.
Mastermind, yep.
That could be a whole nother mastermind, but it is really important to know what that means. If you're saying, I'm really going to aggressively focus on being a great listing agent, and I'm trying to build my pipeline with listings, then you need to know everything you need to know about being a great listing agent. It can't just be like, okay, I got the listing, and then what? Now it's like, now you know nothing about what the next steps are to now use that. How am I now going to use that listing to get more leads? So I think it's really, really important to also, if you don't already know, because it starts with the analysis, because it's going to start, you got to build that relationship, of course. So now they've allowed you to give a presentation, but if you don't know what to do next, then you potentially could lose the listing. You think you have it because they've invited you to their home to sit down, but because you didn't present the information that was needed correctly, or didn't sound confident because you didn't really understand it, that they decide to go with somebody else who sounds like they have more confidence and have a better plan. So really it comes back to having a plan. So that's going to be maybe the next step to this. But I really, really do think that making sure that you're prepared for what getting more listings and building a listing pipeline really, really means.
And I think there may be some videos out there about pricing the house right and doing CMAs and getting the listings. Yeah. It might be in the serum, I'm not sure. But there you have resources. So never be out here just flying by the seat of your pants. You have resources, and these are skills that have to be developed. Okay, I see a question. What's the next step when the friend is asking questions for a friend, but will not give me the person's name on information? Let's see. What is the next step when a friend is asking questions for a friend, but will not give me the person's name on information?
I understood that. You see where they're going?
Okay. Kind of, but since you got it.
I believe the question is, so they have a person that comes to them asking them questions about real estate, about a home buying and or selling, but it's apparently for a friend, right? So the real estate agent wants that referral, but that person that's asking them the questions won't give them the other person's name to contact them. I think it's just all about continuing to present yourself as a consummate professional, relaying the information, answering all those questions. Some of the best mouthpiece for you in that situation is going to be that friend. That friend is going to go right back and tell them, hey man, Margaret really know what they're doing. If I was you, I would go with Margaret. That friend is going to be able to sell Margaret better to the original person than you can sell yourself. if you're doing your job right and you're confident. So just be genuine, continue to answer those questions, talk about what you know. If you don't know, say, hey, I have a team of individuals that I can reach out to though. Let me get with them. I'll get back with you. Don't portray yourself as knowing it all. I tell people all the time, I definitely don't know it all. I'm not the best real estate agent out there, but I have a great team that I work with that makes my service, my value very, very, very effective. And so it's all about the team around you. So I would do it that way, and not focus so much on getting to the friend. So that's my advice with it.
Yeah, I would agree. Just focus on showing value, continues to show value by answering the questions. And you never know, the friend might end up being a client because they see value, or they may refer you some other people because you have been able to answer all those questions. So don't always focus just on the one person. You look at it, the potential, what could come from just the relationship. So yes, you're educating the friend directly. Now you're also educating the friend's friend over here, but potentially that friend could become a client, or that friend can refer you somebody else because they say, man, she has all this knowledge. She was really able to help me. And at some point, the friend might just say, you know what, y'all just need to talk. I'm tired of being in the middle. Y'all just need to talk, So I would continue to just answer the questions. And if you don't know the answer, you've got a wealth of resources here, people who can help you.
You know, something I keep it written down. It's just one of my things that I try to keep focused on, and it actually pertains to this question. And it's focus on the activity, not the outcome. Right. So in this field, you just want to focus on your activity, not the outcome. We cannot control the outcome. We can't control if that buyer and or seller is going to come to us, but we can control the activity, the stuff that we're engaged in. Right. And so think about the long game, kind of like the tortoise and the hare. Don't try to make everything quick and fast. Just do what you do best. Focus on your activity, and I promise you the outcome will come, but we can't control that. So don't focus on the outcome. And
we've all been there. We all have been excited, and oh my gosh, we just want the business, and you want it right now. We've all been there, but I still get there. Every time I get a potential client, I have to remind myself, I have to actively remind myself, okay, I know that this is a process, because I think every agent gets excited about a new potential client. It doesn't matter how long you've been in the business. Right. So just remember that we will get some of them quick, but some of them do take some nurturing, and it will take some time. And be patient, and be okay with being patient. Sometimes we, in our head, we get in our heads too much, and we overthink it. And it's just like, some of these clients are seriously not going to buy till next year. And that's okay. That's okay. You'll have that one next year, but then you still continue to focus on what you're doing for right now. And that's building a pipeline, because you want the client for next year too, because you don't want everything to just be right now. You want to be able to have things spread out amongst the year. So that's just somebody that you stay in touch with, and then eventually they will be ready. And they may be ready sooner than that time frame that they give you. So I would encourage you just to continue to nurture that friend, talk to that friend, but just remember, it's more about the information you're giving and the value you're giving them than it is about, I got to get that client right now.
Any other questions?
I have a question. It's Laura. So back to the early part of the conversation, like going out and socialize, or I guess networking and whatnot, what is recommended, or what places can be recommended to do those things? And then secondly, with CRMs, I'm currently kind of just stuck on getting the, I guess, templates set up for mine so that they're automated through the system, and they just go out, quicker. What advice do you guys give on that?
Okay, well, go ahead, Kendra.
You want to, I don't know which one you guys want to jump on. As far as where you go, joining networking groups, I think are a great resource. I think Cedric has mentioned that a couple of times. He's a part of a lot of groups. I think, putting yourself out there in any type of social groups are always beneficial. It doesn't always have to be real estate groups either. It can be groups just are maybe a common social interest. It could be a Facebook group. It could be a group that gets together. I've done meetups before. I've, been a part of organizations that are real estate related. It could be, I do cycle class. So I do my spin classes in the mornings, and then we go after spin class, we get together and do social things like, go get smoothies or whatever and sit around and chit chat for an hour after. So I think it's not just maybe specifically real estate always, but getting involved in real estate networking groups. There's always stuff posted. Title companies always have things, lenders always have things, builders always have things that they're doing to try to generate more business. And so they will all offer these types of things. The developers of the builder communities also do a lot. Johnson's Development and these types of companies, Caldwell communities, these big developments also do things to try to draw in agents. So being a part of those type of groups work as well. But I think it's important to maybe have a good balance of both the networking groups that you get involved in that are real estate related, but also the social ones as well. Anywhere where you can talk to people is kind of my rule. Anywhere where you can get in front of people and just engage works.
Yeah, absolutely. I personally actually do not like going to a lot of networking events that are primarily real estate agents, because we're all, especially if you're trying to build your pipeline, right? Because I'm going to an event where they're all agents, they're not going to hand me over any of their clients, right? They're not going to become my clients. So again, if I'm going into that space to grow, to learn, because there's some type of educational piece to it, then yes. But again, if I'm going to build a pipeline of clients, I'm not going to events that are primarily real estate agents. I started off a lot on when I got to Houston, because we just relocated here. It's been 2 years now from Austin. So I went to Eventbrite a lot, and they had tons of events. And then I would meet people there at those events that would invite me to other events. And then I kind of just found where my niche was, where I felt as I was most effective, and the crowd fit what I was looking for. And so can definitely go about it that way, but it's tough to join networking events where, again, the crowd is primarily real estate agents. But then again, Brooks and Davis is also always inviting us to networking events with lenders and title companies and things of that nature. So make sure that you're keeping up with the monthly calendars, and that'll give you some ideas of places that you can go to join.
Yeah, I think I guess the reason that I said the ones that are real estate related would be for the relationships you can build.
Yes,
with
absolutely.
repair companies, the lenders, not because of the realtors, but mainly whoever else is there who could be a resource.
Gotcha.
So,
yes. Oh, yes, yeah. Definitely. I agree with you 100%.
So it's basically
absolutely
building those relationships with lenders if you don't have a lender partner, title companies that and then remember, they're going to have events. Great so you point. Can then go to those events and say, hey, do you guys have any upcoming events that I could be a part of? So that's one side of it. But the social stuff, I'm actually a part of a couple of meetup groups. And it's basically just, these are young professionals that are all in different industries that are getting together. And it's kind of like an Eventbrite, I guess, but you just join the groups that have same social interests. And then from there, they have a calendar of all the events that they do. And then I go and just socialize with them. And then everybody's in a different industry, but then I'm looking at them as all potential clients or referrals. So I definitely think Eventbrite's a great option. Meetup is a good option as well. Margaret, do you have any?
Yes, those are excellent. And I want to say, especially for the agents that may be a little bit more reserved and don't consider themselves as social butterflies, whatever your hobby is, whatever you like to do, there's a meetup for it. There's a Facebook group for it. There's a Clubhouse thingy for it. There's something for it. So there's really no reason for you not to be out there and socialize. Like, say, for instance, if you like scrapbooking, there's a scrapbooking club. Go scrapbook with the people. Have a scrapbook of real estate pictures and like, hey, and it's like, hey, what do you do? This is not. So you don't have to just be in no man's land, just being a secret agent. There's tons and tons of things you can go out to do to socialize. Like I said, I just try to, start rollerblading. Tons of people out there rollerblading. They see you fall, they come help you. You strike up a conversation with them, potential clients. And if anything, you're building your pipeline. So Laura, you get out, find what you like to do. If there's a hobby that you like, look up groups for that hobby and go at it hard. You're already doing something that you like to do, so that shouldn't be too hard. And as far as the CR,
can I jump in?
Sure.
All right. I want to offer, first of all, I want to take away nothing that these expert top producing agents are talking about. So this right here is not even to disagree with what they're saying at all. I just want to offer a counter perspective as it relates to networking with other realtors, just based on my experiences. There are opportunities there. For instance, I've had many instances where there's a particular realtor, they're in our metroplex. Maybe they work in the Woodlands, they got somebody in Katy, they don't want to drive to Katy. So because of our relationship, they referred that client. Realtors have information, right? Sometimes when you get them to an event, get some libations in them, they get a little friendly with you. They may give you some information, some secrets, or some things that's upcoming that maybe you can leverage, as well as to grow your business. So just to offer a counter perspective, no, you don't want to fill your entire calendar of realtor events, specific to realtor events, but there can be some value in attending some of those events and building relationships with other realtors.
And I know that we talk about, if people start talking and they have all these listings, they're only one person. Maybe you can do open houses for some of those listings that they do have if they're, not able to do them. So I definitely think it's a healthy balance. So that's a good perspective, Michael.
Very true. MGD always comes in with great perspective. So I appreciate it. Listen, we're all learning. So I'm gonna take that and stick that one in my pocket right there. Yeah, I like it.
What were you saying, Margaret? Her other question, I think, was about the CRM.
About the CRM. And Laura, was it how to keep a track of it or what? Give us that question again.
Thank you guys for all y'all's feedback. I actually do still associate with a few realtors who I constantly get leads from. So, but secondly, CRM, I'm stuck where I'm creating this templates. I use LionDesk. Do you guys suggest any other types of CRMs, or what are y'all using out there? But just creating the templates so that they go out automatically. I've done this with other franchise offices before, but I just can't seem to do that with this one.
Okay, what I've learned was whatever CRM that you have, you need to just use that one and get good at it. So if it's mechanical, maybe try calling the company's customer service and having them walk you through it. Is it just the mechanics of getting in there? Or?
I think it's having to create some of these templates or yeah.
Okay. Well, since every CRM is different, I suggest you get with the customer service rep and have them walk you through it. A lot of times these companies will have webinars that will show you how to do certain things, because you do need to become an expert at whatever CRM that you're using, because that's going to be like the driver in your pipeline. So get with the customer service for that particular one, because I've never really heard of that one. I use Wise Agent, but like I said, there's so many different CRMs. You'll just need to know the particular one that you're using.
Thank you. Any other suggestions for other CRM systems?
Okay, so I use Wise Agent. I think there's like a Salesforce.
I've used Moxie and I've used KV Core before in the past. I'm actually signed up with LionDesk as well, Laura. So I'm learning it the same as you're learning it. So we might be able to get together and try to figure it out. But I just signed up with them actually.
I believe I've heard pretty good things about KV Core. I've never used it. I've used a great CRM called Excel. No,
we all have used that
that's
one.
what I started off with. and that didn't work out so well. But no, hey, don't feel bad at this where you start.
Top Producer is another really good one that a lot of agents have used. The simplicity, I've heard that Back Agent and Lion Desk were some of the easier ones to navigate. So I chose Lion Desk because I felt like of all the ones that I researched, the reviews said that one was the easiest one to navigate. So I think, although you're having issues with it, of course, right now, but that might be something that we can kind of figure out together, because I'm also about to start doing the same thing.
YouTube is your friend. I will say that.
YouTube,
Yeah.
you may have to just do some YouTube sessions. But I would say stick to that one. That one also is linked to zip forms.
Yeah.
So I would honestly say stick with that one. You already have it, and let's just figure out how you can use it and maximize that one.
Which one is that you said is connected to zip forms?
Lion Desk.
Oh, I didn't know that. Okay.
Yeah, it's connected and it can link your contacts and help you. So if you guys don't have one and you're looking for one, if you go into zip forms and look up at the top, they do have a little, like when you're looking at clicking on the buttons, there's a drop down that does show a link for Lion Desk. And there's a couple of other ones too, but that's one of the main ones that they link with.
So I just want to, for those that might be on the call, because for the longest, one of my pet peeves is when people just assume that others know exactly what we're talking about. So we're talking about the CRM, so client resource manager. So for those of you that don't know, just a system, a tool that's used to help you stay in contact with your clients, with your potential leads, following up with them, really just organizing your communication between you and buyers and or sellers. And this just makes it a lot easier. And so it's just referred to as a CRM. I always just feel like when we do that, like the pastor at church that gets up there and he's preaching, he's like, he'll throw out a verse, and you all know the verse in Hebrew, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, no, I don't. Can you please tell me what it is and explain? Because I don't know. So we apologize for that. Just want to make sure.
I apologize. We're just rambling on, yes. So this is the client management system, but I will say that Michael, I know, is on it now. He's real big on new agents starting with Excel. Just start and keep it simple.
And that's what, appreciate it, Mike. Absolutely.
CRMs do cost money. And there are a lot of investments when you start. So I have heard Michael say this on several occasions. Let's just start with Excel, and then we build from there.
Yeah.
Hey, look, I appreciate that segue, Kendra, because look, if you ain't got no customers, you don't need no CRM. I need you to get out there and get some customers.
He is huge on Excel. So start with Excel if you're new. If you have been in the business a little while and you don't have a CRM and you do have some clients, then let's start talking about CRMs. But Laura has been in the business for a while, so she definitely. But Laura, I would encourage you to stick with it. We just got to figure it out.
Yeah, and I have some advice.
I will say,
some advice specifically for you too, as well, Laura. And this is something that we're going to continue to work on in our one-on-one coaching. But I think some of your challenge with the CRM and structuring it is you may not necessarily be clear on how you're going to use it. Like all a CRM is a tool. Mm-hmm. So you can have the best tool, right? For instance, as a contractor, you can have the best hammer, the best tools, but if you don't have a blueprint of how you need to use them, then it's difficult determining what you need or what you don't need. So one of the things that we're going to work on, like I said, we're going to continue to work on, is putting together what do we want that client nurturing strategy to look like? Like, how do we want to touch them? How do we want to nurture them? And then we're going to look at that CRM and see, well, what are the capabilities of this particular CRM as it relates to us executing on our plan of how we envision our clients and customers being touched on a consistent basis. So that may be some of your challenge as it relates to connecting the dots as well that we're going to work on.
Yes, I think for me, I want to say it's probably the templates. I've worked with KV Core, which is really awesome and really easy to maintain and keep up with my clients in. I've used Berkshire Hathaway's CRM, which was actually very difficult to set up as opposed to KV Core's CRMs. And actually, when I joined, you guys, I went back to basics and I did the Excel, which was really helpful at first in getting some of my clients that I hadn't put into my CRM in order, but it definitely outgrew pretty quickly. I grew out of it pretty quickly. I can manage my CRM as far as like entering information and things of that nature. The part where I'm struggling, and it does, Lion Desk is really easy as far as like setting those clients into categories, like are they active, are they not active, are they renters, are they sellers? So that was pretty easy. I think, again, it's just getting it to automatically send out those messages and keep in touch with them, at least the ones that I don't have to, stay in touch with as often, or the ones that I do have to stay in touch with a little more or whatnot, or setting up, reminders and things. But yeah, YouTube is definitely my best friend. I think I watch more YouTube than I do regular TV. So when people are asking me about shows, I don't know, but YouTube, I definitely go back to it a lot, even to the point of, I think it was Kendra talking about staying informed. I watch YouTube every single Monday to, catch up on HAR meetings and things like that, which they have every Monday morning at 9 o'clock, but I just watch it throughout the day and, stay informed in the market and the industry and things of that nature. But I'll be working on CRM setting up today. So wish me luck, y'all.
Good luck, Laura. We have a question from Brenda Moen. And I commend you, Brenda, on, asking about this. So Brenda wants to know, are there any open houses in Katy this weekend, from the weekend of June 17th through the 18th? Well, Brenda, the best way to do that is to go into GroupMe and pose that question, or get on our Facebook page and post that question so maybe some of the other agents in the office could see it and say, you know what, I do have this coming up. I do have this. So that's an excellent way to figure out what's going on in the office. Tap into GroupMe. So I'm not sure if you have access. I think everyone should have access to GroupMe, but that's an excellent place for you to post that question. And the resources, yes, so a lot of those CRMs do cost money. Most of them are like a monthly fee, and the cost varies. So you'll just have to look into which one that you're using. And then remember, Excel is free. And then Laverne had a question about what was connected with ZipLogic. I guess you guys mentioned a CRM that was connected with ZipLogic.
Yeah. So Lion Desk has, yeah, they are connected to Zip Forms. So if you go into Zip Forms and up in the top where they have the drop down boxes, you'll actually be able to see there's a link in there for Lion Desk. Like I said, I just joined, so I'm still trying to figure it out myself, but I think it's supposed to help you kind of with client management a little bit. And your contacts that you put into Zip Form will link with everything that's in Lion Desk, and all the information you put into one will then speak to the other, so you won't have to put it in twice.
Does anyone else have any questions? Any other questions? Any pick your brain questions?
Yeah, I do. I don't know if anybody wants to shadow a open house. It is kind of far. I have a listing in Conroe that's going active tomorrow. And so my open house is this weekend from 1 to 3. I'll put it in GroupMe. If you just feel like taking a little scenic drive and coming to Conroe, you are definitely welcome to come and just kind of see how I do open houses. And then see kind of how you can engage with people to potentially get listings. So I'll put it in GroupMe.
So if no one else has any other questions, we've been rocking it out for a minute, but I want you guys to remember like your takeaways. Plan, get a plan together. Follow up, follow through, follow back. Start working on your skills, because it is a skill that needs to be practiced and it needs to be honed in. So just don't stop after this and go do something else. Actually put that plan together and work that plan. Remember to follow up. Remember to do what you say you're going to do, follow through. Remember to follow back, just touch everybody you've ever met in the past, that you've ever done business with in the past, the people at the grocery store, your hairdresser, everybody. Follow back with them. And then just work on your conversion skills, because that's where your money's going to be, how you convert the people. Anyone else have any other takeaways that they have? Any other takeaways?
I think building the relationships with lenders, with other resources as far as lead generation, builders, lenders, credit repair, anybody that can refer you business that's in the business. It doesn't have to be specifically just referrals that are coming from lead generation sources. Social media is a great way. So, I think the key too is just, you can't do everything. There's just not enough time in the day. So I would say the biggest takeaway is to just really hone in and figure out what you're great at, and the areas, maybe pick 3 different things that you're going to focus on. I think that's going to be really helpful. And then be consistent with it. Once you decide that that's what you're going to do, be consistent longer than a month or 2. Consistent is, okay, this is what I'm going to do as part of my business plan that you've written for this whole year. This is what I'm going to focus on this year for my business, and stay consistent with it. And if you don't see the results that you're looking for immediately, stay with it. That tends to be our reaction, is I'm not getting anything from doing this. I've done it for 2-3 months. I just want to quit. And don't quit. Those are when you become the times that you become the best agents, when you figure out, okay, why isn't it working, and what can I do to maybe just tweak something to get better. So I would encourage you to put it in a plan, put it in a plan for a year, and then just along the way, make certain little tweaks, but don't quit.
Cedric?
That was well said. I don't even want to try to follow that up. I appreciate it. I just appreciate you guys today.
Yeah.
Thank you for tuning in, for helping us grow, because the more we discuss, the more we have conversations about it, it helps us as well. Just keeps us fresh. So thank you guys. We appreciate it.
Eventbrite, that's on my list. Thanks.
All right. I do have to thank you, Kendra, for the open house deal that we Mastermind that we did last time, because I also have an open house this weekend, and I'll throw that same information into the group me. So if you want to join, feel free. And then I'll have another one next weekend if you care to drive all the way to Austin. Hey, we go to 6th Street afterwards, everyone.
I'm down.
Hey, well, come on, we do this thing together. But I went out and got me some more open house signs, because I started to go back and look at my repertoire, and I said, man, I don't have no signs.
I'm going to pick my new ones up. I said last time, I'm picking them up today.
Yeah. I went and bought me some. I even bought the big, what the feather,
Feather, you got the feather.
Oh yeah. I even got some of those. So,
that makes me feel so good.
so I appreciate it.
Thank you. You're welcome.
All right, close us out, Mike.
Absolutely. I've been chomping at the bit. But no, you guys did an excellent job. I was really pushing, letting all of the agents know, and everybody I know, that you all were going to drop some major gems on this program today, and you did not disappoint. So I want to publicly say thank you, Margaret. Thank you, Kendra. Thank you, Cedric, for the knowledge that you have bestowed upon the audience today. Being in this business for 18 years, I reflect back on when I first got in here. So if you're a new agent, I did not have access to people like this. I did not have access to people that were willing to pour into you, that were willing to offer their insights, to offer their expertise and their experience. I did not have access to that. And it made a very difficult process getting through this business. And the way that I experienced real estate and just getting into real estate is what most people's story is when they get into real estate. And that's why so many people don't stay. It's not because they're not capable of doing it. It's not because they're not willing to put in the work or the activity. It's because they don't have the support around them at such an early stage in their career, and they flame out. So I definitely want you to appreciate what they've done today, Margaret, what Cedric's done today, what Kendra's done today, by offering us their time, offering us their expertise. Don't let it go. Don't let it go on dead ears. Like, go out there and do what they said, right? The one thing that we can't do for you is take action. You have to take action. So they've given you a lot of information, a lot of great insight. Now, you need to go out there and you need to make it happen. The one thing that I would love to stop seeing in new agents is the passivity. There's a lot of agents coming into our business and they're passive. They're waiting. They're waiting for somebody to offer them to go to an open house. They're waiting on somebody to mentor them. They're waiting on somebody to answer their question. No, we're saying, reach out, right? Ask in the group meet. Come to the trainings. This is the reason why I say you all need to be attending the trainings, is because you get access to these agents. The study halls, we're doing those twice a week. Whether you're a real estate student affiliate, you're a new agent, you need to be participating in those study halls because you connect to the knowledge base. No one should be out here figuring it out. You do not need to figure it out. We have all the answers, right? But there's no way that you can tap into it if you don't engage. You know, I'm a plug coaching. I'm a plug it till I die. One-on-one coaching every week. This is where we figure this stuff out. This is where we figure out how to implement all of these ideas that these top producing agents gave. You and I, we figured out together, but I can't schedule the session for you. You got to schedule the session and let's get it done, right? Let's get out there. Let's be more assertive, right? Let's do more activity. It's about your activity. If you're going to make it in this business, every day, you need to be eating, thinking, drinking, sleeping, real estate every day. Not once a week, not once a month, not a couple of times a week. Every day, you need to be doing something that's going to move you towards building your business. So that is critical, right? Critical if you're going to be successful in real estate, that you have high. Hold on, mute yourself, Margaret. If you're going to have high activity, it's critical that you have high activity in this business if you're going to be successful in real estate. And then my final thing is this. Don't necessarily get caught up on the objections. Don't necessarily get caught up on the outcome when it comes to talking to people, asking them questions, objections, things like that. Go into it with a sense of empathy, care, right? Buyers don't, I get this a lot with new agents. They're so concerned about a buyer or a client feeling like they don't know something. So they want to spend as much time as they can to enhance their knowledge. And what I let them know is after my 18 years of experience, is that in reality, clients don't care about how much you know. They care about how much you care. Like, do you care enough to, if you don't know something, go find the answer? How are you going to serve them? That's what they care about, right? And you don't need to go to real estate school and close a bunch of transactions to care for somebody on a deeper level. So it's about how you show up as it relates to you caring for the people, the customer. So when they ask the question, caring for getting the answer and the response to them. So that deeper level of empathy that you bring to the business is going to be your magic pill to help you grow your business. The other thing is curiosity. You need to become curious why people are asking what they're asking. Newsflash, most buyers don't know what they're doing. That's because they're first-time home buyers. They've never done it before. Most sellers, they've never sold a house before. They don't know what they're doing. So don't listen to the questions or the comments or the insights that they're telling you, because they don't know what they're doing. That's like me taking guidance and lead from my 8-year-old daughter at the house. She ain't been here long enough. She don't know what she's doing. They don't know what they're doing. So, but you want to know why they're asking it. You want to know where it's coming from. So that's why you have to probe. I know it's going to be uncomfortable for you as a new agent. And you feel like, oh, I'm asking too many questions. They're going to get uncomfortable. They're going to fire me. I know that's what you're thinking. That ain't what they're going to do. All right. But you got to probe. You got to ask the questions. You got to get real curious, because how can you help somebody if you don't really know what the symptoms and what the problems are? So that's like going to the doctor and you're sick. You don't know why you're sick, right? You're going to him to get a diagnosis, but he's not asking you no questions. How can he prescribe something for you if he's not really probing and asking questions? That's why they ask all the questions about your history and your parents' history and, you know, what you eat, where you been. They're probing you. You got to do the same when you have these conversations with somebody that's showing a level of interest whether buying a house, selling a house, renting a house, apartment. You got to be the doctor. You got to diagnose. You got to be curious. You just can't walk away from that interaction just saying, okay. Because like Kendra said, the next agent that talk to them, gonna probe, get them answers, and they're gonna be able to help you. You got to be curious. And then the last thing is confidence. You got to approach this business with a high level of confidence, right? People tell me all the time, the reason that people used to use me when I first got in this business wasn't because I knew nothing, because I didn't. It was because everywhere I showed up, and I don't even know where I got this thought from, but it worked. Everywhere I went, I had a suit on. So because I had a suit on, I felt better about myself, right? I looked like I knew what I was talking about. And then I carried myself, right? I carried myself like I knew what I was talking about. So that level of confidence just shone. And that's what really helped me initially in my business, because you're going to know it. You're going to learn the business as you begin implementing it and doing it. That's why we work so hard with the mentorship and the coaching and the training and all of that stuff, because we know the way you're going to get it is by doing it. So we want to put all these layers of support around you as you go through that process. But the confidence that I exuded early on in this business is what really helped me keep going and allowed me to attract a lot of business so I could begin working on it. So confidence is key. You have to be confident. And then I'm going to end with what Kendra said, where she talks about the consistency, patience. You have got to be patient with the process. This is not going to turn over tomorrow. I wish I could tell you it could. I wish. Like I've been looking for me to be able to not say that it's going to take a while, but that's the reality of it. Stay patient with the process. Stick to it. Be consistent. Trust what all these top producers said. Trust what I say, that if you keep doing these things, it will turn over for you, and it will turn over for you in a big way. But you have to be patient with the process. With that being said, that's all I have. Again, thank you all for showing up today, taking it in, and I look forward to see my calendar filled next week with coaching sessions, because y'all need to coach with me. CEO Coach Mike. All right, that's all I got, Margaret. Thanks.
Man, that was inspiration.
No, pass around the collection plate.
Yeah, go Coach Mike.
Man,
Yes.
snap your fingers or what? What were we supposed to do? I was like, okay. Mike is.
Alrighty, everybody. So I think that was excellent. And I even got some tidbits to take away myself. So I wish everyone a great rest of your week. And we'll see y'all at these open houses.
Appreciate you guys. Y'all have a good one.
Thank you, everyone.
Have a great one.
Bye, everyone.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.